Hi, I'm Linda Dahl, and I have been one of the coaches for um, Collage Joy this year, and I have loved every minute of it. So many of the students have said that they own a gel plate but have never used it. It's either sitting in the closet or they just haven't even opened the package. So today I was going to be making some papers myself to use in my collages, and I thought I would record several of the papers that I'll be making. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something from it, and I hope you will unpack your gel plate and get busy working. Today I'm going to be making some gel print papers to use in my collage, and I thought I would invite you to join me and see how I do what I do. My gel plate is on a piece of plastic. I like the ability to be able to pick it up and not have it move. Um, I like a sturdier surface, so I just had an old piece of plexiglass and I put my gel plate on it, and my gel plate stays out most of the time, and it stays right on the sheet of plastic, and that keeps it really nice, and it works for me. I will be using Amsterdam paints. I use Nova for other things, but for my gel plate, I prefer the Amsterdam. There's a set on Amazon and in most art stores that have a yellow, a red, a blue, a white, and a black, and they're fairly reasonable. And more importantly, is they work really well on the gel plate. The consistency of these paints seems to really work on my gel plate better than anything else that I know. I usually keep an extra piece of paper next to me, and I usually have a stencil under it. I'm going to be wiping off my brayer, and I have a 3.5-inch brayer. When I'm done with this, using this brayer, I will put it in Murphy's oil overnight in a jar, and in the next morning it will be like new again. So I don't have a lot of buildup. This spray is probably 10 years old and it's still in excellent condition. I also have a Baren that I can press down with. If I didn't have a Baren, I'd be using a wooden spoon. Anything that will help not use your fingers. My hands get very tired and achy, and so I don't like to have to keep pushing on uh, my papers with my fingers. So I will be using those. Um, as I say, I like to have paper. I have a stack of paper ready to go just above out of sight. I have a stack of stencils ready to go, um, to be put underneath as roll-off paper. Okay, let's get started. I like to have both light, medium, and dark value pieces. I like to have quiet pieces and busy pieces because that's what I'm going to need when I start my collages. I'm going to be starting with some light ones and some plain ones just so that I can get going. Every time I come and do this, it takes a little bit to get used to doing it again. So I start with some of the easier ones. You can open this, but I don't find I have as much control here as I do if I undo the screw. I seem to have a better control of how much pigment comes out, and I really don't want a lot of pigment. I only want a small amount. And I'm going to add a little bit of red as well. I'm not a fan of that yellow as yellow per se. And most people, when they start with their gel plate, they use way, way, way too much paint. And so that really is not a lot of paint. A lot of people will mix their paint on a palette with a palette knife and then put it on their plate. I don't really want even perfect pages. I really like there to be some mingling of the paint. I like it to look like it was handmade and not printed out of the computer. So I'm going to just take my brayer and I'm just going to start rolling across the plate. I want this to be very, very thin. Most people have it way too thick. And then every time I'm going to roll off my paper, roll off my brayer on a piece of paper, and I'm going to get another piece of collage paper rather than using it on a catalog or a brown paper. I really like, especially some of these very, very, I don't know if we can get it where you can see it, some of these very light papers, some of these wonderful papers. So I will immediately put this on here. I will take my brayer and I will rub the back. If I weren't using the brayer, I would be using a wooden spoon. And I have my first pull. I'm not exactly sure why I got the lines, but when I use these in collage, I'm going to use pieces of them. And I actually might use that line through it. I have no idea. I was doing something yesterday on the plate and something must have been left over. But this is what I'm talking about, the irregularity of the color changing. I really happen to like that a lot. So I said I was going to start with lights, and that certainly didn't get light. So the next piece I do, I'm going to add a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of white, and see what happens. I'm always surprised what I get. I don't really try to duplicate or match. I just keep working, and whatever happens. So in order to mix it, I'm doing a circular motion on my plate. I know most people tell you should only go up and down, but in order to mix right on the plate and not have to have a separate palette, and that's hopefully a little bit lighter color. Again, I'm just going to make a separate sheet for my roll-off sheet. And this time, I'm going to take a catalyst wedge and I'm just going to do some vertical lines. Why? Just for some variety. I have a lot more strength in my whole arm and my shoulder than I do in my hands. So if I didn't have this, I would be using my hand and my fingers. And like I said, that can tire my hands quite a bit. And I got a wonderful vertical lines through it. Just a nice paper. Again, boy, I'm not getting light enough, so this time we're going to put a lot more white. I don't tend to use three colors on my gel plate. In the collage, I might mix a red, yellow, blue, or green, or orange, or all colors. But when I'm making my papers, I usually tend to make warm papers or cool papers. Yes, I go through a lot of paper. I have another trowel that I had gotten somewhere. I'm going to just go across. Come down. I'm not sure what that's going to happen, but we'll see. I do love textured paper, and I like subtle textured paper, so the gel plate does give me quite a bit of that. Depending upon the humidity in the day, today seems to be working fine, but if it's very dry or very hot, I sometimes will have to add a little bit of medium. Ooh. That's a really interesting paper. I like that a lot. And now I'm left with quite a bit still on my plate. I don't know if you can see what's left on the plate. So I'm going to give it just a second and let it dry just a little bit. And then I'm going to put some white, some red, some yellow, when I put a second coat of paint on top of paint that has dried, it will pick up both layers. So I'm hoping it will pick up that design in this page as well. Some of these pages I use, some I don't, but I always keep them around. They're awfully handy to have. This is bond paper that I'm using, and it happens to be 24-pound bond paper. I don't really like the 20-pound. It's a little too thin, and when I go to collage, I get a lot more bubbles if I'm using the thinner paper. Ooh, fun. I don't know if you can see some of that design in there. That'll be a nice paper to work with. Okay, I have more than enough orange papers. I think I need to switch to maybe some darker papers. And I don't care that this is still on here. It adds a little bit of texture to something else that I'm going to do. I'm going to do some red, and I'm going to do a little bit of yellow. And it may come out too dark. That might be more black than I needed, but sometimes I need black papers. This is a little more paint than I really want on my plate, so I'm going to have to do several roll-offs. As a matter of fact, I'm going to switch to a new stencil. Definitely too much black. I have a feeling this one may be a little too dark, but there's times when I need a small piece of dark, so I will not throw away anything. Actually, I really like what's happening over here in this piece. That's a really nice piece of neutral. And I don't care if I don't use the whole thing. It might be this is exactly what I need in a collage. Ooh, very interesting piece. I love that the green, I don't know, the yellow, the green, the red, some of the marks. It's a nice, interesting piece of dark paper. I'm happy with that. This time we're going to use a little less black, a little bit more red. And maybe just a teeny touch of yellow. Still got too much black. Could I add red now? Yes. Am I going to? No. I just move on and take whatever it gives me. As I say, I really like the mixture of color, so I'm not really worried about making it perfect. I just used this catalyst wedge to draw some lines through just to give me an interesting dark paper. Ooh, really a fun paper. Love that. And I don't know if you can see this, little bits of red and little bits of yellow, just subtle, but it'll make a beautiful, beautiful paper in my collage. I still have quite a bit left on here, so we're just going to go ahead and use it. Oop, a little more yellow than I wanted, but maybe I just needed that. Who knows? The thickness that you should be using, you should almost be able to see through the plate. You don't want it so thick you can't see through. And if I were to, whoops. These are the parts I love, these lighter ones. Why did I put lines down? Just to break it up, just to give me something new and different. Not crazy over that one. I don't like the black, but who knows? In a collage, it may end up being something that really adds a nice touch. Now I have some more lines left, so let's see what happens if I just put some yellow down. When I start to get a buildup on my gel plate, those lines were pretty dry. I'm going to leave this just a little bit longer, and I'm just going to rub just a little bit harder. Yeah, I like that. When I have my brayer, I forgot to mention that when I put it down, this is actually meant to be a stand, so I will always put it down so that if I put it down like this, the paint will dry and it will stick and there'll be paper glued to my brayer. So you want to make sure you always put it up this way in a resting position. I would be doing more of what I was doing a minute ago, but I want to switch and change up and go to something else. And so I'm going to do a little switch up here. And yes, there's still paint on my gel plate, but it'll eventually come off again. I'm going to take some bottle caps. I'm just trying to show you some of the different techniques or some of the different tools I use. A lot of them are just from right around the house, like the bottle caps. And there's a lovely piece of collage paper. And I've got quite a few circles left here, so let's pick them up and see what happens. Yes, I'm pressing fairly hard. And like I said, I really don't want it smooth. I really like a little bit more red, a little bit more white, a little bit more yellow. I like color mixing. Taking a smaller bottle cap, kind of making a grid. Not a perfect grid. It's a different kind of pressure that I get from the spoon from the Baren, and sometimes I'll actually use both. Ooh, nice paper. Like that a lot. Boy, I'm getting a lot of oranges, so we got to get away from that. There's still quite a few circles on this page, so hopefully I can pick some of them up. And hopefully they show up on this pinky color. Ooh, a really nice roll-off paper. Didn't do any texture on it because I was hoping those circles would show up underneath. We'll see. I do tend to use this 8x10 plate the most. It gives me a really nice size for a lot of my 8-inch. Oh yeah, I don't know if you can see all those orange circles in there. They're actually there. Very, very nice paper. I had several sets of Lego blocks for my kids, grandkids, great-grandkids. And there's two sizes. There's one for the younger kids with the bigger blocks, and there's one smaller for the older ones. And I stole one of each of their base plates. You can actually get these at a dollar store, but I love what I can do with these as well. I'm going to press this right into the paint. And I'm going to get a wonderful dotted piece of paper. If I wanted to get all the paint off my page, I would leave this for 5 or 10 minutes, and when I lifted it, it would lift off all the excess paint that's still on the plate. But I want to keep going. And this is a gorgeous piece. It's got some darker areas, lighter areas. It's got some of the dots are white, some are kind of pinky. I love that piece of paper. Hoping this turns into a brownish color. We'll see what happens. No, I'm not going to get what I wanted, but it's going to be nice anyway. Now I'm going to use the larger one. Now I'm going to get much larger circles, dots. And I did get a gorgeous brown. Wow. You see some yellow, some red. Really, really like that piece of paper. There's an awful lot of paint left on here, so I'm going to pick some of that up. by just putting some more paint down. Oh, I really like this area. That's going to be a nice piece. And I'm just going to pick this straight up because there was so much paint on the plate that I want to try to clean it up and get rid of some of that paint. I'm going to let it rest just a second longer. When you put your hand on the back and you feel that it's cool, it's still a little wet. Just like in watercolor, we used to touch the paper and know by the temperature of the paper whether the paint had dried or not. And I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm feeling it and feeling where it's starting to dry and where it isn't. Kind of a crazy piece, but a fun piece. You never know when I need a bright orange. Still have some paint on here, but I'm just going to keep going. Doing a look at what I have, I don't have very many light papers. And I think I need some lighter pieces. So I'm gonna make a couple of light ones. I'm not a big fan of yellow, but every once in a while a nice small piece of yellow just really helps the collage liven up. So, and on this one I'm going to take a child's toy. It's just a Play-Doh toy. And I'm going to run it down the plate. Clean it off by rubbing it on a roll-off plate. I'll save this for doing something else on top of it. I know a lot of people clean their plates in between, but for me, I don't really find it necessary. Had the paint a little thick, so I'm actually going to get 2 pulls, but this will be a nice yellow to have. And actually, no. It's pretty warm today. This may already have dried, we'll see. It's okay. Not my favorite, but it's okay. A little too yellow for me. I gotta put a little bit of red in that. I can't. crazy over this one. Oop. I'm going to take a rubber drink holder. And let's see what we get with this. Ooh, I really like this. Really fun paper. Putting a lot more white. I want to get a little more pastel look to it. I don't know which papers will go together, but I know because they're made with the same colors, they will all go together. Just some I will like together better than others. And that's a pretty peach color. I'm going to take a silicone mat to put a pot on that's hot, and I'm just going to lay that into it. Ooh, that turned out really nice. Sometimes you need a white piece of paper with just some lines through it, and boy, that I love. There are lots of videos out there on how to clean, how to maintain, how to store your gel plate. I'm really not going to deal with that today. I just wanted to get some of you who have, ooh, I love that. Yeah, nice circles. And now I'm left with something really beautiful. So I want to pick that up. I'm actually going to pick that up with just white. I'm going to give it just a second to dry. As I said, what this video was about was trying to get some of the students in Collage Joy to get out their gel plate and make some different papers. I know they already have a lot of papers made, but they may just want to use their gel plate to make a few more and a few different ones. I'm just going to put white on this. I have a lot of darks and I have a lot of mediums. I don't have a lot of whites, so I'm hoping this will give me another beautiful light. Didn't give me much on that, but that's okay. I still have to roll the roller off. I don't want the paint building up on it. And because I'm picking up 2 layers, I have to let this dry just a little bit longer. A little bit longer. I'm doing this in real time. I could have sped it up, but I think you need to realize that sometimes you just have to wait and you have to let it sit. And I think it's better for you to see it in real time. Didn't get it all. I didn't wait long enough, but that's a really nice sheet of paper. I like that. Let me take a little bit of alcohol and spray just to loosen this up a little bit. I don't mind if there's a little bit on the plate, but this is a little more than I wanted. So this is a continuous spray bottle. It sprays very fine, and this has alcohol in it. I also have one that has water in it, which sometimes I will use for other things. Okay. I'm going to do just a red one. Just have done a lot of orange and brown and black. Sometimes just a little bit of a nice transparent red is nice to have. So I'm going to I'm just going to take some bubble wrap. Right, I save all my Amazon bags, and bubble wrap comes in lots of different sizes, and I often like the results that I get from bubble wrap. Sometimes I have to turn it and pull it. I think no, it's going to come off fine. And it's lifting lots of the paint off the, oop. It starts to rip. I just go to the other side. I think the alcohol dried the plate out just a little bit, but that's okay. I'm just going to keep going. And ending up with, I think, a really nice piece of collage paper. I think I'll do another one that's more red and just ooh, well, I wanted a teeny bit, but that's okay. Another day I would do all blues, turquoises, greens, yellows, and I would work in cools. Usually when I'm making the papers, I'm working in either warm or cool, and then I can combine all the papers later. Boy, that's a nice bright orange. I like that. love this piece right here. Really like what happened there. This is another packing material. I save all the packing materials that come in boxes and packages. And I'm just going to press it down into it. Maybe should have pressed a little bit harder, but oh, it's okay. There's a 1 layer, 2 layer, 3 layer gel printing. I'm only doing 1 layer on each of these pages because, as I said, I wanted this to be something that new people who have never used their gel plate would get it out and do. But some of these that I'm not crazy over, I might actually do a 2nd layer on top of. Oh, that came out really nice. I love that. Bright, beautiful color. Sometimes I take the back of a brush and I will actually come in and kind of do some systemic writing. Just kind of scribble. Sometimes it works better than others, but I love to experiment. I like to try new things, and I like to see what happens. Getting a little warmer, so gotta push just a little harder. Ooh, I like that a lot. That will be a fun piece in a collage. I really like the indication of that writing in that paper. I'm happy with that one. I can use cling wrap. I can use anything that has texture works with this gel plate. Again, I'm only showing you a few of the things I use. There are literally thousands of things that I can do with this gel plate, but I don't want to take too much time, although I know you have been asking for this video for a while, so okay. Stencil. Let's take a stencil and let's put the stencil right on top of the plate. And let me go find a sheet that I'm not crazy over. Okay. This is a roll-off sheet, and it's okay, but it's nothing special. So I'm going to take this and put this right on top, and I may love it or I may hate it, but as those of you who know me know, I just like to try anything. If my mind says, well, what if I did this, then I go ahead and try it. If I don't like it, I may do a 3rd layer on top of the paper. It's only paper. And the ones that are gorgeous are worth losing one or two. So I'm actually using my fingers on this because I'm trying to get into the holes of the stencil. And that is a gorgeous piece of paper. I love that. And the yellow is from the first sheet, the roll-off sheet actually. That really turned out nice. I like that. And now I'm going to lift this. And the reason I'm putting it down is just to get some of the paint off. But I don't really worry about those too much. Boy, there's some nice stuff happening here. And I think I will maybe lift that with just white. I could lift it with medium and it would be really transparent, but I think I'm going to try the white and see. I have days in the studio when all I do is make paper. And I might make a warm paper. I may do warm paper in the morning, cool in the afternoon. I may make neutrals the next day. I love making paper. It's just absolute a pleasure to watch the colors mix and to watch these papers come off. Ooh, really nice paper. I don't know if you can see all those marks, but boy, that'll be a gorgeous paper in collage. I could actually put leaves down. I could put keys down. I could put anything I chose. Again, I've still got some paint on here. Not a lot, but I need to pick that up. And I don't like to really waste paint, so I'm not sure what'll come up and what won't, but I'm just going to put down some more pigment. The reason that I use the Amsterdam paint is their consistency. Some paints are too thin and some are too thick. This seems to be able to be thinned and yet hold its color. It just seems to work really well for me. Ooh, another bright orange one, wow. Sometimes I use combs. I use, this is, I don't even know what this is. Oh, I know, it was to hold a roast in place. Another video, maybe I'll go into second layers and go into printing flowers and leaves and that type of thing. But I think for today, this is more than enough to get you started, hopefully to get you excited, to get your plate out and to start working and start making some either warm or cool papers, whatever you're up to in Collage Joy. Some light, some middle values, some dark. Hopefully you enjoyed seeing how I make paper. I'm thrilled. I got a whole set of beautiful papers made for me to use in my collages. Have a good day. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.